Hi guys, so we know that Northern Ireland is part of the single market when it comes to goods post-Brexit, and we know that Great Britain is a third country, meaning that there isn't unfettered trade of goods between Great Britain and Northern Ireland at the moment. We must remember that this was never a requirement of Brexit. It was something chosen after the vote by the likes of Boris Johnson and the ERG, and of course supported by the Democratic Unionist Party in Northern Ireland. Now, Richard Thomson, an MP for the SNP, brought up an interesting point in the House of Commons a few days ago when he claimed that an independent Scotland could have unfettered access to Northern Ireland if it was a member of the European Union. Now, he was later interrupted by Brexiteer Sammy Wilson, but let's hear the point raised by Mr. Thomson.
Now, the member for North Down pointed out that Northern Ireland did not vote for Brexit. It would be remiss of me not to point out at this point that Scotland also did not vote for Brexit. And I think there is some irony, allow me to be the one to point it out, and I hope other members will appreciate, there is a great irony in the fact that if Scotland were to become independent and join the European Union, it would once again enjoy free, unfettered trade with Northern Ireland, and our businesses would enjoy that in a way that we simply do not have any longer.
Now, this is true. If Scotland became independent and it rejoined or joined the European Union, and of course the single market and the customs union, then it would have unfettered access. Its goods would be able to flow without any restrictions to Northern Ireland, and goods from Northern Ireland would be able to flow to Scotland without any restrictions. So this is true, yes. Now let's hear what Sammy Wilson had to say about that.
Under the terms of the protocol. I will, yes.
While Scotland might have free unfettered trade with Northern Ireland, does he not think it would be a far bigger problem that it wouldn't have free unfettered trade with its biggest market in England?
Now, unfortunately, Mr. Thomson doesn't respond directly to this question. He starts talking about something else. But it's perhaps a valid point to raise. Scotland does most of its trade with England at the moment. And if Scotland became independent and joined the single market and the customs union, then that would mean that Scotland would have big problems exporting into England. The problem here is that Sammy Wilson seems to forget is that there would be a transition period. So if Scotland became independent, it would leave the union. Then there would be negotiations on, for example, issues of trade between England, or Westminster, I should say, and Scotland. And these issues would, I would hope, be sorted out. Now, of course, there would be a change taking place. There's a possibility that talks could collapse, but there's also a possibility that there could be an agreement. Now, there's also the possibility that by the time Scotland becomes independent, the consequences of Brexit will be clear for everyone to see, and Great Britain will decide to rejoin the single market and the customs union to resolve a lot of the problems that businesses are facing at the moment. There has been a cry out to rejoin the single market and the customs union. So if Great Britain rejoined the single market and the customs union and Scotland became independent, then there wouldn't be a problem with trade, or the problems would be very limited. This would sort of nullify Sammy Wilson's point. There's also the possibility that Scotland could diverge away from England. Now, I think that would be less likely, but there's also the possibility that Scotland could decide we're going to shift our focus away from England to the European Union instead. In a similar way, not exactly the same, of course, but in a similar way that post-Brexit Britain is shifting away from the European Union to try and buy and sell goods from Australia or New Zealand or Japan or Canada. Not something I support. I think it's a different situation, of course, trading with the European Union as opposed to trading with countries on the other side of the world. But it's not impossible for Scotland to trade with England post-Brexit, post-independence, I should say. And also there is a possibility that Boris Johnson will not be Prime Minister by the time Scotland becomes independent. The Tories may not be in power by the time Scotland becomes independent. So you could find a government in Westminster that is friendlier to the Scots than the current one. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?